You're watching Cars.tv.
Ken Thurm. I own the car, built the car, my wife and I, in my garage at home. And we're at the Pomona Amber Show for the Grand National Roadster Show. It's a 1932 Ford Roadster, Brookfield body. The engine, it's a Coyote 5.0, and I made it look more like a traditional engine. They don't have distributors, and they have 8 coils. I had to get rid of all that stuff and made the valve covers and make it look like a hot rod. Fuel injection came off a Gurney Westlake Indianapolis car from 1965. Started from scratch and built the frame, and one thing led to another, and so this really represents what I wanted. I didn't want to squish the outside of the frame to the inside of the tire, so I narrowed the front end 4 inches. I cut the frame off the firewall. I made brand new front frame rails with a 3-inch greater radius to raise the cross member 3 inches to get the height that I wanted. Moved it in 4 inches, 2 inches per side. So I just wanted to shrink the front end and give the tapered look of the car to match it closer to the front. Everything I do is black. That's what I like. My wife came out. She helped me tremendously on this. But she goes, "Can I pick the color and the color of the interior?" And I said, "Yep." So she picked this and the interior. And I'm really glad. I'm happy with the contrast, I think, and with a lot of chrome and polish on the thing. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I'm glad I didn't do black. When we were here, my wife and I went to dinner and we got home. My good friend that painted it for me, he and his wife has helped me through this whole thing. Jeff Sherman and his wife Robin. He did a great paint job on this thing. And so we were at dinner and I finally realized it's there, And the funny part, we got home, opened the garage, pulled in the garage, and it was empty. I'm done. So that was it. That's when it's really settled in.
My name is Ken Roadster. The title of the car is the Roadster. It's a 32 Phaeton. This one is a 2-door. They didn't make a 2-door in 32, but this is a 2-door. The Phaeton is a Roadster with a back seat. Chip Foose and Ken from Brookville, Ohio, they build Roadster bodies out of steel. He's got the original molds for the Roadster body, and he redid them and refunctioned them so that they'd stamp better because they'd been used so many times. And so they took the pieces of the Roadster bodies and they built a Phaeton. Ford made a Phaeton in 32, 33, and 34, but in 32 they never made a 2-door. So Chip had the idea of making a 2-door, so he designed a 2-door, and they made it, and they made a body for us. And where it really started, when I came back from the service years ago, 30 years ago, I'm 75 now, so it was a long time ago. But a fellow in Colorado named Darrell Mayhab, a famous automobile artist, had drawn a 32 Tudor Ford, which is a Tudor is just a hard top. It would have been chopped 3-4 inches, and I looked at this car for 30 years and I thought, wow, that car is just beautiful. Somebody ought to build it someday. And when this body came along and I knew the top was going to be chopped on it, I thought somebody is going to build it. So that's what we started from, and that's what we built. First time I saw the car dialed in and with the roof on it and everything was just a couple weeks ago. Sid Chafers did the roof. I wanted the roof done to perfection, and he's one of the best. So he did the roof, and it was sitting out in the parking lot, and I pulled up the parking lot to take it to the detailer with the trailer, and it was just sitting there, and it reminds me of years gone by. It's tough to get old, and you think you're going to live forever, and you're not. That reminded me that I wouldn't, and that I had the opportunity to do it with just a joy. I mean, it just lights up in here. It lights up everywhere. It's just a wonderful looking car. I'm very pleased with it. Win or lose, it satisfied the person that it had to satisfy the most, and that's me.